That's right. You heard it. I ain't afraid to say it. Charlie is not who you think he is. As a matter of fact, he's better. He's better than who you thought he was. This man stood on Christian principles. Now, whether you agree with Christian principles or not, that's debatable and that's on you. But I ain't afraid to say that Charlie stood on Christian principles. And if that makes him a racist, a bigot, or whatever, so be it. So be it. But if you're a Christian today and you're witnessing what you witness and we're all living through what we heard and experienced yesterday, that Charlie was unalived. What me and Angel was actually talking about this and what and and what's going around by way of the Holy Spirit for sure is that whatever God has called you to do, you need to do it because tomorrow isn't promised. Tomorrow isn't promised. Now, here's what's blowing my mind. I got comments like this. Y'all see that? Got comments like this. Say he's a racist, man. Do you not know your history? Huh? Read your books, bro. He's a racist. Just because someone disagrees with you does not give you the right to unalive them. We're going to see over the, we're probably going to see over the next couple of weeks, and people are going to be like, oh, it's gun violence, it's this violence, is that. Man, there's a gun today. A young lady was riding the train. It was a knife that day. If you go to any other country where they remove guns, they throw liquid that will harm you. If someone has an intent to do harm, they crazy. They crazy. They're crazy. And they have an intent to do harm. And it doesn't matter what they got. They'll find whatever they want to find to inflict harm. The problem is not the gun. The problem is not the knife. The problem is not any kind of weapon of choice. The problem is the condition of the human heart. That's the problem. But we want to, let's, I want to show you this because just to really hone in on who Charlie was. Let's look at this. Jillian Michael actually has some stuff to say. I think let me see. Can I get it here?
Do people realize sort of what Charlie was about?
Some of us do. Some of us clearly don't. What I want to say about Charlie is that he and I had numerous disagreements. I'm a woman who's married to a woman. And despite that, he invited me on his podcast. He had me speak at his Turning Point event. He platformed me. He retweeted me. This is a guy that was willing to engage in debate to resolve disagreements. And the fact that I am seeing celebration, and I'm not going to point fingers. I'm not going to make this about any red, blue. I don't want to be divisive here, but this is disgusting. I got a tweet from my daughter today. I'm not thinking clearly. I got a text from my daughter today telling me that kids at her school were celebrating.
Crazy.
Okay, at my daughter's high school. Something is wrong in this country. The divisiveness, the rhetoric, the othering has got to stop.
Crazy.
Now.
As we said, the both sides.
I mean, think about this. I did not know that Jillian was gay. I didn't. I found out like a couple of years ago when my wife and I we were at a Kroger event in Denver, and we actually met Jillian. And she said some things. I said, I didn't know she was gay. But it doesn't matter. The point is, we should be able to engage in conversation. even if we don't have the same beliefs, and be able to get to get to a place of conversation, and it not be crazy. And so you saw him embody this, even just working with Jillian. And I thought that was I think it shows the heart of who this man was.
Part, I think it's worth noting, Shelby, I'll give you the last 15, 20 seconds. 9/11 tomorrow morning. President Trump's supposed to go to New York, be at a Yankees game. Do those plans change?
I don't think that they change. As far as I know, he's still scheduled to be at the Pentagon in the morning and then go to the Yankees game in the evening. I do think that we're going to see some schedule changes over the next few days. I would not be surprised if a horde of top officials from the administration go to his funeral. Again, this is personally affecting the highest levels of the administration.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our News Nation app right now.
I don't even agree with come on some stuff. But I think if you're a believer, like I said, Angela was talking about this, that a fire should be lit. That whatever God has called you to do, this is the time to do it. I actually want to go to the looks like the FBI is providing some updates, at least about a little bit over an hour ago. Let's take a listen with that. See what's going on.
Just to recap yesterday's events, at around 12:20 p.m., political influencer Charlie Kirk was at Utah Valley University participating in a student-sponsored event with Turning Point USA. Charlie was shot at that event. He was transported to a local hospital where he later passed. Last night, his body was moved to the state office of the medical examiner. We will continue to facilitate movements to get him home today and with his family. Yesterday, during the investigative process, we located a couple of persons of interest. We interviewed those individuals, and after releasing them and after clearing them of being suspects, they faced scrutiny, they faced threats. We asked the public to be patient with the investigative process. These individuals were not suspects, they were people of interest. We ask that you do not impose into those people and that investigative process. They don't deserve that harassment for being subject to that.
I ain't gonna lie, man. I'm a little confused. I think it's fascinating how the FBI can locate you if you didn't pay taxes on you didn't pay $600 in taxes. But we got video of this dude, and we got some posts of this dude, and we can't seem to find him. I don't know, man. It's just there's some things per the usual that don't make sense about this, right? And I think it's wild. So apparently they're still looking for this person. It's 11 minutes. The video is 11 minutes. They're still looking for this person. Here we go. Just pop the bubble on that one. Now, so many people will say, well, this man, Charlie was a racist. So here's what I did. I actually went to ChatGPT. Because again, do I know every single word that came out of his mouth? Absolutely not. I don't know. Let's see what ChatGPT says though. Because I want to know, because people are saying, oh man, Charlie, this dude is racist. He hated black people. Matter of fact, hold on. Before I do that, let me show you this. Look at this. Look at this mess. So somebody commented on one of my posts. He would literally celebrate your death. So somebody commented to me on Instagram. He would literally celebrate your death. Just because he disagreed with Black Lives Matter and all the things doesn't make this man a racist. Matter of fact, I mean, I don't agree with Black Lives Matter, so I'm a racist too. I don't like my own people. come on, y'all. Let's be reasonable. I have a real issue with people who can't reason. For real. Like I had the privilege of taking public relations in college. And what that taught me was that they have figured out a science to program your thought. And that absolutely fascinated me that we could legitimately, scientifically adjust the thoughts of people. And it blew my mind because I grew up in the rough side of Houston. And statistically, I was statistically supposed to not make it. Right. And people would look and say, because you came from this school and because you grew up on this side of town, you're probably going to be a menace to society and not make it. And I was just like, man, you do not know me. How can you determine what's going on in my mind and make some assumption that I'm not going to make it? I lost my parents before I graduated college. I lost my mom when I graduated before I graduated high school. Statistically, put me in a bad situation. I lost my father before I graduated college. I mean, statistically, put me in a bad situation. All the stacks were stacked against me. You know what I'm saying? And the programming to say that you're not going to make it. You're gonna be another statistic. You're destined for jail. You're destined for this. You're destined for that. It's like, how? Well, you don't even know me. And so I just never bought into the fact that I can be controlled. It's probably why I have problems with corporate America too. I like my autonomy. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. But I want you to look. People, so I'm gonna do what everybody else does. We'll go to Chat GPT and just, was Charlie Kirk a racist? Let's look. Just see what Chat says. Chatty says, I said, why are some people calling Charlie Kirk a racist? He said, denying white privilege. Kirk has said that the concept of white privilege is a myth and a racist lie. He strongly opposes critical race theory and frames many race-related education efforts as ideological. Critics argue that denying systematic racism disparity or refusing to acknowledge historical context minimizes or dismisses the lived experiences of racial minorities or ignores systematic issues. I definitely talked about that before. Actually, it's not racist. It's calling the facts what it is. And many will disagree. I don't care. Like, I really don't care. Because if we're going to talk about the real systematic issues, there are real systematic issues. There really is systematic issues. But the ones that are propaganda to us, to you, if you are viewed within one of those sects that are the one of those sections that is propaganda to, that ain't the real racism. The real racism is the Planned Parenthoods that are in minority that are in minority areas. Like, but we don't talk about that. You know what I'm saying? The real racism is and really this isn't really racism. This is just a system of control, which is popular, just government assistance. It's a system of control because everybody's on it. Everybody who take parts in it, it's irrelevant of color. But there was a time when they were really locking up black people for no good reason. And there was some presidents that was previously in office that celebrated that in his younger years. Who still said things like, you ain't black if you don't vote for me. That's racist. I'm serious, man. The stuff that actually is racist, we don't want to call out. But the things that are, I mean, the things that really are racist, we don't call out. But the things that that ain't racist. We want to call that out because that's what the news said we should call out. It's crazy, man. That makes me a racist. Guess you just put me right up there with Charlie then. It's crazy. Crazy because one of the videos that we have go viral on our travel channel, Thomas Family Life. If you're watching this on Thomas Family Life, one of the videos that went viral, that first video that went viral was the one that talked about how's it being black in RVing. And that's because we shared here's our experience of us traveling. That we've been programmed that everybody's racist. If we go anywhere, if we do anything outside of our community, we're going to get gunned down, pulled over, all the things, and go get sent to jail and beat. Man, dude, we traveled all over the country. We didn't have any problems. We had some prejudgments in one area, but that's human people, man. It's irrelevant. If you're gonna live this life and think that people are not gonna like you and expect everyone to like you because of how you look, everybody judges. Everybody has preconceived notions about everybody. It's in each culture, they all got the same issues. If you're from South America, if you from North to South or West to South America, wherever, everybody's gonna have something to say. It's the condition of the human heart. So then, I went to a chat to ask the other question. Well, how did Charlie represent Christ? I'm just gonna do what anybody else would do, right? Just go chat GPT and see what it says. How did Charlie represent Christ? He was open about his profession of faith, right? He didn't keep his Christianity private. He spoke about Christ and his own faith journey. I think that should challenge every Christian right out the gates. Because how many times we in the marketplace or we at work and we just shut up? Because it's not nice to declare your Christianity when everybody else get to declare theirs. Everybody else get to go take their time to go pray in the closet somewhere, but not you. Everybody else gets to take off because they have a holy day, but not you. You don't want to take off on Sunday because you don't stand for it, right? You don't stand for that day or Saturday, whatever day you want to declare to be your religious day. We won't do that. We compromise all the time. Think about that. For real, I really want you to think about that. He once spoke on social media that Jesus defeated death so you can live. And that's the truth. Like, he uses public platforms, speech events to declare Christian beliefs. At college events in the Turning Point USA, he often framed issues in religious or spiritual terms. That's what we all should do as Christians. We pilgrims on this earth. We're pilgrims on this earth. Like, we are from heaven having an earthly experience. And we should declare the kingdom of God wherever we go. Unashamedly. The problem is that we've been so conditioned that it's the Christian thing to do to just sit down and shut up. And so you'll find people who criticize them for this. You find Christians who criticize them. Look at this. Areas of tension: love, humility, grace, contention, of grace versus contention, combative rhetoric. Critics argued that some of Kirk's tone or rhetoric in political and social debates were polarized and harsh, lacking humility. Some say this undermines Christ's call to love enemies. Yeah, I mean, this is exactly what they called out here. Someone was calling out here, right? Oh, they probably ain't gonna show it now. Took too long. Sorry. my feed then moved. Yeah, people people making that comment. That man, he just wasn't nice enough. It's not the Christian thing to do to be nice. I mean, he didn't sit down and shut up. That's what Christians should do. I think when we look through Christian history, whenever there's been an uprising or things have changed, it's because finally a Christian said, screw this. This ain't right. And they stood up. It's a challenge for us all. If you know that God has called you to do something, I think it's about time to do it. Do it unashamedly. Do it unabashedly. And whatever comes from it, man, let it be. We actually saw this in years ago. Not that far in a distant past. But it wasn't that how it was in 2020, 2021. If you stood for something that was against the norm, you got ostracized. You got kicked out of stores. You got your job threatened. You got all these things because you differed in the opinion or the rhetoric or the quote unquote science that they were trying to push down our throats. And many Christians folded because they couldn't stand. They just went ahead and got the yippity yap. When it came to the face of your job being threatened, so many folded. So many didn't stand. We did. We said, let it be what it is. I'm not doing it. And there's only a few percentage of Americans who stood and said, I ain't doing it. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you threaten. I ain't doing it. And that comes from a conviction and having a boldness to stand. And I honestly, I believe that so many Christians don't have that boldness because they just cheapen the grace of God. They cheapen what God has done for you on the cross. I really don't think Christians really understand why Jesus came. You know what I'm saying? We had a problem at the gates. The problem was sin entered the garden, and we were in trouble as humanity. God wanted to be in relationship with us. Sin entered, and that relationship got severed. And there was a Grand Canyon cliff between us and the right relationship with God. But God in his grace said, all right, well, y'all want to cover yourselves with fig leaves. Let me give you some tunics of skin, which meant that something innocent had to pay for our sin. I'm helping somebody today. So Jesus, so God set up his order. Say, okay, this is what it's going to take to bridge the catechism between my righteousness and your sin. He gave us the law, 10 commandments, plus another 613. And he set up a people, Israel, to declare who he is to a fallen world who didn't know who he was anymore because they rejected everything about him from creation to them. They rejected everything. So he set up a people to say, hey, I am the God of the universe. To be that beacon of light. And then they kept messing up. Right? But he said, but through y'all, I'm a birth one who is going to complete this work for all of mankind. And here comes Jesus on the scene to fulfill all the law that God had in place so that we can come into right relationship with him. And he said, here's what you're going to have to do. I had Adam and Eve put a cloak of skin on. But for you, I'm going to make this even more simple for y'all. Make it even easier. My son is going to take on all my wrath. And all you have to do is believe that he did it for you, that I sent him, and what he did satisfied my wrath, and the innocence that was on his back, you will now take that innocence. All you have to do is believe. You have nothing else you need to prove to me. Nothing else. You just simply need to believe that he did it. Does that make sense? It's really that easy. And because it's that easy, we have such a big problem with it. We're like, no. I gotta prove it to you, God. I gotta prove. It's like y'all tried to prove it to me for thousands of years. I'm telling you, I'm making this easy for you because I understand you as a human. You as a human cannot do this. And his was wild. His was wild. Any other religion out there, they gonna have you doing all kind of stuff. They gonna have you not eating. They gonna have you praying 50 million times a day, right? They gonna have you burning incense and doing all kind of stuff. Have you traveling all over the world? Have you smoking this and doing that? They're gonna have you doing everything else to try to appease the greater higher power that they call is the higher power. But the real God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, God of Israel, he said, man, listen, I'm gonna make this really easy because I understand what I created. And I understand that problem that y'all have. If you believe in me, I will change your heart. And I'll give you my heart, my spirit, which would justify your entire being. Even though a part of that being is still impacted by sin. I'm going so deep, I done lost somebody now. But here's what here, but I should just lean into God a little bit here. Lean into him a little bit here. The Lord Jesus Christ has made this easy for you to bridge that catechism. But then you know what else he did? You know what else he did? No, here's what else he did. Here's the next level to this. The next level to this is this. Is that now that you've came into him, the issues that are still there, and you know what those issues are, the issues that are still there, he has given you the power to overcome them, and they no longer have to control you. The fear, the anxiety, the lust, the pride of life, the lust of the eye, the lust of the flesh, all sin is incorporated into one of those three categories. All of it. And however you shape it, feel it, don't matter. It's gonna fall into one of them. He has given you the power to overcome it. So you are no longer a slave to sin. So what I like about what Charlie did, and it's just in his life, is that he was not afraid, didn't back down. He stood up to it. And he went and declared he went and declared the goodness of God to a generation that the enemy had had his own plan for. And he came in and challenged that plan. So they're still trying to find. They haven't found the shooter yet. Shooter's still at large. I think that's by design. Because the other part that Christians really have a hard time with is that we do live in a fallen world, and baby, the devil is real. He is very, very real. The agenda is real. This isn't just a cute look. He came to steal, kill, and destroy. He came to steal, kill, and destroy. Those are real statements, man. And by the grace of God, we're covered, and so we're covered so many times. But when the times do come that there's a time of martyr, that it happens. He knows. He's in control of it all. And I have so many friends who are who are really shooken over this, and it's bad. I'm not saying that this isn't good. I'm not making it even light. It's bad. But when you stand for Christ, it's expected, and there's rewards for this in heaven. And when you stand for what God calls you to stand for, and when you stand for Christ and you stand for Him, His righteousness and His goodness, and you stand for His good news, and if you're martyred in the process of that, count it all joy. Because great is your crown when you get to heaven. So, y'all be blessed. Was Charlie Kirk a racist? No, man, dude wasn't no racist. Can't believe the silliness that people come up with. He was simply a guy who disagreed, and he stood on Christian principles, and that makes you a menace to society. Well, I'm pretty sure the Bible said that's going to happen. So, everybody, get your shirts together. We're all gonna be menaces to us to society, because Jesus is real. God is real. He wants you to be saved and set free from sin, and He wants you to live a life that is representative of Him. Do not take the Lord's name in vain. That's what that means. It doesn't mean that has nothing to do with cursing. Has nothing to do with with using Jesus' name as a curse word. They don't use nobody else's name. I don't see nobody, using Allah or Muhammad or Buddha, whatever is a curse word. They get to use Jesus, but that's not what that verse actually stands for. That's not what that verse means. It means do not represent me wrong. So I'm out.